let's talk about NBA prospects. That's going to be my professional segue right there. All right. Would you want the Mavericks to trade up for any of these perhaps more gettable players? Your options on the board today: Mikel Brown, Kingston Flemings, or Keaton Wagler. Who would you like to start with?
I want to start with Flemings because you were the first person to suggest keeping an eye on him to me. And I believe Alec as well was there whenever it was a suggestion. But I think Alec had already, been in on this because that's Alec. That's how he do.
He knows stuff.
And so I want to rock with him, the kid out of Houston.
All right, go ahead. Good decision. Give me cut number 6, will you please? Because I believe right here, right now, this is my favorite player of these three.
Knocked away by snag. Here's Flemings, another run-out opportunity, and another throwdown.
All right. So you're going to notice two big differences, and I would love if after this we could pivot to Waggler, because I think you have a decision to make whether you go with Kyrie or don't go with Kyrie, depending on how you feel about these two players. All right. So Kingston Flemings, he is your playmaker on the ball. Keep in mind the phrase I'm going to use. If everything works perfectly.
Oh, no.
If everything works perfectly, think injury-free Derrick Rose. He is very fast with and without the ball, so he can bring you all kinds of downhill offensive pressure.
All right. I need to know what you mean by if everything goes perfectly.
Okay, because he can get to the basket, all right? He can give you that forward offensive pressure, that slash that you're going to want. But folks have questions about his jump shot. Now, it is true that seemingly everybody he talks to seems to like him. NBA executives and everybody else, they really like him. So keep an eye out. You know how we talked about Kareem Lopez, maybe the workouts could really push him up the board. Keep an eye out on the same thing with Flemings, like when they're doing the shootouts like they did yesterday. If he can answer some of those questions or look good in some of these workouts, I think he can move up the board. So he was 38.7% from three and 84.5% from the line this past season. Showing those types of progressions are really important for him. And if he can continue to grow in that area, he could be an absolute stud.
Okay.
But those are the questions. Will his jump shot continue to develop?
I don't have an answer for that, Kevin.
Sure. If you did, I would be like, you need to quit this job and go scout.
Yeah.
Because you're going to make a lot of money.
Or we could just, we could still do the job.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
But also, the only God can predict that.
Sure.
But he, and if he puts the work in to make it happen. That's the other factor, is you never know with that.
And he seems intrinsically motivated, but you're talking about things you don't know? That's a guess.
Yeah. The one thing that I gathered from this kid, now, like Cooper Flagg, I think that when I watch him play, he gets joy from beating people.
Yes.
And I think that Flemings just gets joy from playing this game.
Oh, yeah.
When I watch him play, he just looked like he knows everybody on the court. You know that dude that shows up to your uncle that shows up to the softball field, and he knows every person as he's walking into the softball field.
Right.
And they're all saying hi to him, and he has to stop and talk to, Ronnie over there for a couple of minutes, and then he finally gets there. He doesn't even have time to stretch. He throws the ball twice and then gets out there and plays. And you're like, what just happened?
Right.
That's what Kingston Flemings reminds me of. Just the way I've seen him communicate with people. And it kind of goes back to that moment when he was in the other team's circle as they were huddled up, and he was just over there hanging out with them, and they were like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" And he was just like, "Let's go." He was excited, but nobody got mad about it. They were just like, "Let's go have some hoops and have some fun." And that's the kind of dude that I like having around for culture purposes, because he's good, but also can keep it loose whenever it gets a little tight.
Oh, from the 469, I've wanted them to draft him no matter where they picked.
Okay.
And I like that.
If he's a 9, I'll take him.
So I think they mean even if they were 1.
If he's a 1, I'll take him.
Okay. All right. So That would require, I think, some pretty radical changes. I think if you went with Flemings, this might be a situation where you move on from Kyrie Irving. So,
how soon?
I would make the argument straight away.
And I'm sorry, correct me. How long does Kyrie have on his contract? Is he a couple years
2
left?
Years? I'm actually not positive.
And so that's why I'm asking, like, does playing behind Kyrie make sense for a year? Because you don't have, you know what I'm saying? You have 2 years to move him.
Sure.
And so does playing with him and letting him work with him and develop with him a little bit help? Yeah. Or does it hinder? But you want to get the ball in this dude's hands as quickly as you can, is what you're saying.
And I continue to wonder if, like, you want people who are all on the same growth page, or same enough.
I got you.
Like, Kyrie is like, hey, I'm ready to win now, one would assume. And this might not be the case. But if you want to stick with that, let's take a look at Keaton Wagler. That is your more prototypical shooting guard.
Okay.
I think he would fit great next to Kyrie. All right, I'm going to give you a gap here. Higher end, think Tyrese Halliburton. More reasonable expectation might be somebody more like Luke Kennard.
Okay.
All right. So
which everybody seems to love Luke Kennard.
Yeah, for sure. He's a good player.
Yeah.
I just those are different levels of players. So I think Wagler is a good catch and shoot guy. He's really good with off the ball movement. All right.
So he could be Clay.
Not so much of the pure shooter. I mean, that feels like a tough expectation to put on anybody. But
Clay right now.
I think he has significantly better mobility, and so I will just go.
Okay, all right.
I would just go with that.
I'm going
to
go watch this kid so I can get a better understanding of whether or not he's Clay.
And so, come back. I want to know that. So, Wagler is the rags to riches story in this draft. If you're looking for one, he was not one of the top of the class guys. You know how we talked about the other day, Nate Ament?
Yeah.
Like, he came into college and people were like, he could be a top 5 pick. Nobody was saying that about Keaton. And then he led Illinois to the Final Four, and he's just like all the way. He is taken off. And people are like, holy crap, this kid's really good. And he's really good in a really strong draft. Like, I could see him going 6 or 7 very reasonably in a very strong draft. Like, this isn't a dud draft like a couple of years ago. And if you think his shooting, like you notice, obviously, this is the theme. If his three-point shooting translates to the next level, then he could be a stud as well. Now, for Wagler, he shot 40% from 3 this season. And then if you look at the NCAA tournament run, he really upped his game. He was shooting 7 3-pointers per game at a 37% clip. And one of the reasons that fell is because he really struggled in that game against UConn.
Okay.
But before that, was
that struggle because UConn is that good, or he just the moment?
Well,
and that's something to learn from.
And so that question right there, I think, is a great question. But that's one of the key cruxes of this scouting report, right? Do you think he just had a tough night? Or do you think the better defensive pressure of UConn, which is the next step to what you're going to see defensively in the NBA, is what stymied him?
And sometimes you have to have that moment.
For sure.
So you can be a phoenix and rise again. But Kevin, I like watching this dude shoot the 3. I like watching the fact that he can create his own shot. I like the fact that when he gets around the basket, his head isn't just focused on, well, I got to make this bucket. He can make those passes.
Right.
He's got a lot of ability that I like, and I really like the length too.
Yeah.
He does look 12. But that's
it the face?
It's definitely the face, because his body looks like it's developed for that right now. But he's got some game, dude. I like watching this kid.
And he is somebody that I think can plug right in and run at the 2.
Yeah.
So I do like that.
Can you see him handling some more ball handling duties?
Yeah, but
or would you just rather have him not focused on that right now.
No, he could, but I think if you're really going to unleash his full scoring potential, running him next to Kyrie would be significantly better for him. He's a competent passer.
I need to see him catch and shoot a few more. I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah.
I need to see a little bit more.
He's good off a catch and shoot.
Yeah,
for
it just
sure.
looks like you know how Jaden Hardy could catch and shoot, but also could create his own shot, and he's got a little bit of that, but it looks like he has a little more to it.
Now, then we get to Mikel Brown. I think Mikel Brown is the person that a lot of people were sad when you dropped just from 8 to 9 because maybe you'd seen projections that he could go at 8. That's why I'm telling you to watch players like Waggler or Flemings and where they move, or watch somebody like Kareem Lopez who could move in to that top area. And then Mikel Brown, I believe it was at the lottery selection, said, I think Dallas is the best city in the country. It's my favorite city in the country. It'd be great. I just love the vibe of Dallas. I have a lot of family in Texas as well. I saw him play at the AAU tournament in Dallas, so that would be great. Every time I go to play in Dallas, I love the city, love the vibe, love the people, love the fans.
Holy crap.
Wow.
His shooting range is insane.
It is.
Like, he doesn't care where he is on the court. He's just like, I need to see the basket. Oh, there it is. Shot.
So here is where you're going to have to maybe do your biggest projection. Because this is a guard-heavy draft, right? Like, you look at a lot of the players we've talked about so far are guards. There are a lot of scouts out there that still think Mikel Brown has the highest upside of the group. That includes Acuff, Waggler, Flemings. His positional size, shooting ability, and passing skills all stand out. And I think this is another kid that could show that off in workouts. Because in workouts then, you could almost compare side by side and be like, ooh, that looks better than Acuff, or that looks better than Flemings, or whoever. But one of the issues he's also going to run into is every single one of those players we just listed, they had better seasons.
Okay.
Because Mikel Brown was impacted by his back injury.
Yeah, and then, Kevin, quite honestly, back injuries don't get any easier on a player or a body.
Sure.
So, like, that's just always going to be something that will be a concern.
And so you hope, like, that's the way you look at it, right?
That's the
You
projection.
hope it was a one-off, or it was a specific thing that they fixed and it's going to be okay. But you have to think about that. Is this going to be an issue throughout his career? He's a quick decision maker. He's really good in the pick and roll.
Oh, yeah.
And he can, see, I
was
love
just
that.
about to point that out, yeah.
And he can finish against elite length guarding in the NBA. So you know how we talked about with Flemings and Waggler, like, is their shooting going to translate to the NBA? One thing I can tell you, it really does look like Mikel Brown should be able to continue to score and finish against NBA guards, especially with their length. So he has flash plays, splash plays that are similar to Kyrie Irving. But
I'm saying like right now his defensive highlights, they're like, and his defense. I'm like, he's getting blown by on all these. But on the videos that I'm watching, I wouldn't have put those specific plays in there.
I'm going to throw out a player in just a second that might make you nervous. I think he's a lot closer to Tyrese Maxey.
Okay.
But I can also see and understand the comps of Trae Young with better defensive upside. But if we're being honest, to your point, I wonder if it's going to be a struggle for him to guard, especially if he's playing at the 2 off of bigger NBA guards.
I can see that.
I think Trae Young might be the worst defensive player in the NBA. So I don't want to say that's his comp. I don't necessarily think that's fair. But as of yet, he has not shown to be a particularly proficient defender, or at least project that out at the NBA level.
He does fight his way through screens. He fights
He's
to stay
great
out
at
front.
that.
His footwork's pretty good. It's just, there's some body limitations at the moment whenever you have bigger guys on him. There's the offensive production might make up for it enough, but if you're wanting to be in one of those lockdown defensive teams in moments, I'm not asking him and Kai to do that for me.
Yeah, and I think those two could play well offensively alongside each other. So, and when we talk about the speed, him and Acuff's speed really does stand out.
Put him in transition. He can go.
Absolutely.